All right, welcome back to the Elias Macko Show. Program note, we're 10 minutes away from traffic court, so get your traffic court stories ready, and you can plead your case on CJD in just about 10 minutes' time. Just one last thing on the Tina Turner front. As I mentioned, the statue that a lot of people are not a fan of in her hometown of Brownsville, Tennessee. People ask me, what about the legs? The legs are spectacular. The problem is with the head and the hair of the statue, and I have a lot of people sending me notes on the text line that have looked up this statue, and they are in agreement. Great legs, great body. The rest, not so much. We also have Eric Duham joining us at 11:30. A new poll out from Leger this morning shows that his party is doing not so bad. He's going to join us at 11:30. One last program note there. Now, let's get to the Gaza peace plan. In an effort to broker a peace deal, right, U.S. President Donald Trump has put forth his Gaza peace plan. It's the topic of international debate. It's highly contentious. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has accepted it. We've got other leaders in the Middle East, other countries in the Middle East accepting it. European leaders. Seems like there are a lot of people that are on board, but we've yet to hear word from Hamas leaders. Let's talk about this Gaza peace plan. Find out if it's viable. Kyle Matthews on the line, co-founder and executive director of the Montreal Institute for Global Security. Kyle, thank you so much for coming back onto the show.
Thanks for having me on, Elias.
What's your and by the way, Kyle, I don't know if you've seen it. 10 minutes ago, Donald Trump sent out a tweet on this very subject. I'll get to that, but before I get there, I do want to get to your take on this plan as best as you can in the limited radio time we have. If you could tell our listeners what the plan in essence is and what you think of it.
Yeah, well, there's a 21-point peace plan and involves 21 specific issues, but it basically calls for peace to happen. Hamas has to release the remaining hostages as well as those who are dead. That Israel has to do a transfer of Gazans that's taken into custody and put in prison. It calls for, which is the most contentious one, for Hamas to de-arm and to transition control of Gaza to another authority, which is not Hamas. So that's the main sticking point. But it outlines a series of measures to be taken to stop the fighting, to stop the death and the killing of civilians, and to end what has been one of the most terrible conflicts that's had an impact way beyond where it's taken place. So from European cities to Canada, we've seen this conflict really result in anger and protests across the world. So that's what they're trying to do. It's not perfect, and we don't know if Hamas will accept it. There's already rumors that they're going to not accept it, or they're going to come back with countermeasures. So that's where we are right now.
So with that in mind, with the note there of rumors that Hamas will not accept it, let me just read you again. This just coming in. This is 10 minutes ago from the account of Donald Trump, and I'm not on his True Social, so sometimes you don't see this stuff right away, but he posted 10 minutes ago, okay? Here's what he wrote. Hamas has been a ruthless and violent threat for many years in the Middle East. They have killed and made lives unbearably miserable, culminating in the October 7th massacre in Israel. Babies, women, children, old people, many young men and women, boys and girls, getting ready to celebrate their future lives together, okay? He goes on, right, as Donald Trump would do. But let me skip over to the end, okay, where he says this: we will have peace in the Middle East one way or the other. The violence and the bloodshed will stop. Release the hostages, all of them, including the bodies of those who are dead now. And here's where it gets interesting. An agreement must be reached with Hamas by Sunday evening at 6 p.m. Washington, D.C. time. Every country has signed on. If this last chance agreement is not reached, all hell like no one has ever seen before will break out against Hamas. There will be peace in the Middle East one way or the other. Thank you for your attention on this matter. Now, is that does pressure matter when it comes to Hamas? And is that enough pressure? A hard deadline of 6 p.m. Washington time on Sunday?
Well, listen, we're dealing with a group that it's an extremist group, extremely violent. There's divisions within Hamas over what to do next. Hamas, the military wing is in Gaza, the political wing is in Doha and in Turkey. So there's disarray within the group. I think what the Trump administration is saying is that Trump really wants a Nobel Peace Prize. He wants to bring an end to this. He's putting this pressure. But will Hamas comply? I think Hamas, their long-term vision is not to accept peace. It's really to keep on fighting Israel. I hate to say that. A lot of people don't like to hear it, but Hamas is being an obstacle to peace, and the October 7th attack was trying to break apart the Abraham peace accords between the Arab world and Israel. So what will they do? Does that mean, is that threat mean that the U.S. will take military action? I don't think so. I think they're basically suggesting that Israel will then have carte blanche to do whatever it takes to destroy Hamas in Gaza. Not sure if it means there will be action taken against Hamas in other places where they're located outside of Gaza, but that seems to be the threat. Will Hamas listen? I'm not too sure.
So just going back on what you said, right, and how you said, like, a lot of people don't like to hear this, right, when talking about Hamas. So what do they want? And I don't care if it's tough to hear, Kyle. I really don't. I think we have to talk about hard truths here. What actually does Hamas want if they don't want peace here?
Hamas's charter is one that says they're going to end the state of Israel, which eventually means attacking Israelis and taking away their state. They're not looking for peace to just govern Gaza. They're obsessed with actually pushing back to what was the international agreement for the creation of Israel and the creation of the separate Palestinian states for the Arabs. That's what they're focused on. That's why you can't get a peace with them, because it's like negotiating a peace with Al Qaeda. They've done enormous damage to the Palestinian cause. They are extremist, and they've been working to carry out attacks around the world. It's not a rational political movement. It's a religious extremist movement, and we see this in their actions. So that's the problem here. People forget that it's hard to have a peace deal when one side just doesn't want peace, when it's obsessed with destroying the other. And that's the unfortunate situation where we're in, and why pressure has to be put on Hamas, but also on those other countries that have gave them political and military support and ideological support.
Is there enough, I don't know how to put it, but like, are there enough moderates in Gaza that could take control and push something through and change the narrative there? Or are we just stuck with Hamas?
Well, this is a key question. When Hamas eventually took over Gaza Strip and they killed and murdered members of the Palestinian authorities that controlled it before, they haven't left much space for any political opposition to them in a free and fair manner. They've targeted dissidents that didn't want to take their hardline approach. They've targeted secular Palestinians. So we really don't know. We do see some people that are angry at Hamas. They feel that their actions has greatly damaged the Palestinian cause as well as Palestinian lives. The conflict was really whatever they seek to achieve has set back Gaza by hundreds of years. So we really don't know who would then, in this peace plan or the Trump peace plan, that would have a peace board, supposedly with Tony Blair involved. Mm-hmm. We don't know who would take over from here. Is it an international authority like the UN, or would it be other groups or others in Palestinian society? It's really not clear.
Kyle, listen, I'm going to have to leave it there. It really always is a pleasure to have you on and to break down issues like this. Thanks for coming on, okay?
Thanks for having me on.
Kyle Matthews is co-founder and executive director of the Montreal Institute for Global Security.
I'm Dylan Playfair.
And I'm Tyler Smith.
We're putting loneliness in the penalty box by talking to some of our favorite athletes about the importance of friendship.
This is Bromance.
Bromance is brought to you by Charm Diamond Centers, proudly Canadian-owned and operated. Charm has been part of your love stories and bromances for over 50 years. And you can find Bromance on the iHeartRadio network or wherever you get your podcasts.